Okay, welcome to this class for today. And today we have a midterm exam at the end of the time. And we are talking about two things today, memory and cognition. What is memory?
You can recollect people mind.
Other things? Other year of memory? Is there anybody here that have a memory problem? I have. Yeah. Everybody has some type of memory problem. And the first question is the duration of memory. Why you cannot remember your childhood experiences? Why? From what time, from what age, we cannot remember our childhood experiences, especially our childhood bad experiences, emotional experiences. What is your first memory of your childhood? What the age?
It was my fourth birthday. And I
Fourth birthday.
gifts I got.
Before that, you cannot remember anything.
I don't think so. I remember that being my most vivid, if anything.
Well, what about you? What is your first memory of your memory, childhood memories? Even good or bad? That's important. Usually we remember our bad memories, our bad experiences, usually, not always. But what's your first?
They took us to like a zoo and I got lost. I think that was at the second year too.
How old were you?
Like 7.
Was it scary for you?
Yeah.
You.
Oh, I broke my arm playing the netball.
Also like second grade. How old were you?
Second grade.
So when we want to talk about the memory, at first we should distinguish between two things: learning, memory, and also sometimes recall. For example, when you study your lessons, your memory is active, and your learning process is engaged with your learning. But sometimes after 2 days, 3 days, or sometimes the exams and the tests, you cannot remember what you have learned. Is it memory? Hi, sir.
Hello guys, how are you?
How are you?
So you're having your lecture first and then exam.
Yes. At the end of the time. Why? Why we learn but we cannot recall? What's the problem? It's all a student's problem. Learning has 3 parts: studying, rehearsal, and recall. The problem is rehearsal. Rehearsal, repeat and repeat and repeat. To move from your vocabulary memory to your imaginatory memory. When the data in your brain convert to images, this takes forever. Not forever, but at least for 4 years, at least. When you can change your data from the vocabulary word format to the image format. So when you are thinking about your past life history, at the first, you can remember some types of bad emotional, negative emotional experience in your childhood history. Why? Because you are a child. For example, some orders, some comments, and some comments of your parents is not very good for you. Why? You are a child. You want to play everything. You want to check it, experience everything. But sometimes it is hazardous or dangerous for you. So your parents stop your experiences. Is it good for your life? Yes. Is it good for your emotions? No. Nobody loves, nobody likes just to be stopped. Why? because they want to have a sense of freedom, sense of liberty. Okay, these types of emotional experiences go to your emotional brain, which is engaged with the memory. Sometimes I have a question. Is human the only being in the universe that has memory? Who says no? Why you say no?
Don't elephants have memory?
Let me ask you a question in a greater scale. Are mammals only the beings in the universe who have memory? All the mammals, also elephants, lions, all, and other people. Are mammals the only people, only being in the universe who has the memory or not? How do you think about the birds?
Crows, right?
You know homing birds, homing pigeons? Homing pigeon is a type of pigeon that goes far from the original roots. For example, from America to Canada. For example, train in a cage. And after that, when you open the cage in the, for example, Canada, the homing pigeon come out, cycle 3 times, and go back straight, far to his or her roots. It is seasonal also. You see in the spring, some birds come from other parts of the world to the next part. And after ending the spring, for example, again, is it a type of memory? For example, in human being, in driving, as you know, all of us use, for example, GPS in America because the roads are very difficult to find and you may be lost and other things. But in local maps, for example, when you leave, usually you don't need your GPS. Why? Where is your GPS? Is it called memory? Is it called memory? Yeah. Is it a type of memory? Who think it is not a type of memory? For example, when your brain GPS works for you instead of Google GPS or map GPS. Who think it is not a type of memory? Okay. I want the candidate come here to check something. Who is courage to come here to check something about the motor memory? Okay, you come. You are the most courageous man in this class. Okay. Are you comfortable with your foods? No problem? Yeah. I think you're walking? Okay. Please move up one of your feet and stand on the other one. Okay. For example, just this. How he knows the meaning of move up? How? Thank you. When you have modern language, sometimes it seems very, very clear for you to know the meaning of the words. Not only about the modern language. For example, first and second languages in America are English and Spanish. What if you want to know, for example, Chinese language? A lot of people here probably hear from China. They are Chinese. It may be so good for you to know about the Chinese language, but not your modern language. Sometimes when you want to learn another language, it is not so clear for you to know about the pronunciation. It is something like it. This type of memory is called motor memory. Motor in psychology, in neuroscience, in brain, in neurology, motor is means movement. For example, when you say psychomotor activities, the activities which are ordered with your brain and you can see in your movements. For example, this is the psychomotor activity. When a person comes in a class, I see that psychomotor activity is not so good. The body shows the mind. Are you good? No, sir, I'm not so good. I feel so depressed. I'm so tired. And when somebody, like gentleman, comes, okay, wait. It's always fresh. I said, good. Body talks with people about your mind and also about yourself, with yourself. Please help. Don't talk to us here. Don't talk to us, but show us with your body that you are in a bad mood. It's called body language. The language of body never lies. Body language never lies. Please show us that you are in a bad mood. You are depressed, you are sad, not angry. It is down. Show us that you are smart. Do you think you are smart? Why? You are so smart that can't change anything in your body to show us the different part of your emotions by you. It is so smart. Why? Okay. Just now, he shows us doubt. You look at the game I was playing, I asked a question, and unconsciously, he shows his inner emotion, doubt. And he said that. Show us you are happy. Okay, you are always happy. Show us you are. I show. Show us your surprise. Surprise, yeah. Is it part of memory? Yes. But we have cultural memory and cross-cultural memory. For example, some emotions are cultural memory. What's the meaning of that? Some emotion in one culture showing this emotion expression, not emotion experience. Emotion experience expression, for example, in some types of different cultures are different. For example, sadness. Sadness is a cultural emotion? No, it's cross-cultural. If you see the picture of a sad man or sad woman, all around the world, people say you, yes, he or she is sad. For example, a funeral, where somebody is dead, or about grief process. Grief process. In your culture, what do you do when somebody is dead? Is there anything different from other cultures or not? So, rituals. Do you know the meaning of rituals? Ritual is some type of behavior very special for some type of age. For example, childhood rituals, tribes, culture, ethnicity, race, even geographical limitation, for example, like a country. This is rituals, special for that part of age, that part of culture, that part of world. This is rituals. Archetypal and stereotypal behaviors. repeat after generation, next generation. They have all the same ritual. They have all the same behavior. Okay. For example, in some type of religions, they believe that when you are dead, after life, you don't have any limitation of time and space. So they say that when you are dead, you have qualified to an upper stage of your existence, not of your life, because you are dead. What of your existence? When somebody dead, they will do, be happy, has left the limitation of time and space. But ordinary, it is not like this. It is called cultural memory. Memory of a people in a specific culture. Sometimes it is called archetypes or collective consciousness, collective unconsciousness. In different parts of the world, people show the same behavior in the same manner for the same target. But they don't know each other. There's no learning. It is unconsciousness. There's no learning. Okay? So, in the time of memory, we have two types of memory. Short-term and long-term. How many digits can you remember in your life? A number with how many digits can you remember just at the time? For example, 5 digits, 6 digits. Say me a number with 7 digits. Not 1, 2, 3, 4, different digits. Say me a number with 7 digits. Repeat again. You are not here. Repeat again. You are not here again. You are laughing. You repeat again. 600. It is short-term memory? No, it's not memory. 7 minus and plus 2 data. It is from 5 to 9 data. You can have just at the time in your memory. 5 to 9. So what is the problem of learning? What is the basic necessary thing for learning? Concentration, attention and concentration. What is the opposite of concentration? When you are not concentrated on something, what are you doing? When you are not attached to something, what you are doing? You are distracted or detachment. Attachment and detachment or distracted. Is distraction a type of memory problems? On the other hand, its forgetfulness is a type of memory problems. Why all people have memory problems? Slow, another thing. What is the difference between you, for example, 65 years? No, 65 years so it's not old. It's the first years of aging. 80 and more. What is the difference between you and that lady? About your memory? I know. His or her memory is weaker than you. I know. Why? Why his or her memory is weaker than you? The same skull, the same brain, the same man, the same woman. What's the problem? What? It's about the? No, it's not about the mind. It's about the brain. Regularly, every day you lost 1,000 brain cells regularly, normal, no problem. You have about 32 trillion brain cells, no problem. Every day. Until the age of 70, your brain is little smaller. Has lost a lot of brain cells. But when you use, for example, wheat, with each week, you lost 7,000 brain cells. Each week, it's marijuana. You will lose 7,000 brain cells, which is the cell for 1 day, 1,000 cells. So when you use wheat, marijuana, and other things like it, you will last for 1 week. So after 5 years, your brain will lose for 35 years. For example, when you are 20 years, okay, and you use weed marijuana for 5 years, your brain is like a man or woman at the age of 55. Because of that, long-term use, especially for cocaine or for weed, long-term use ends to the memory distortion. It is called tip of the tongue phenomenon. Tip of the tongue phenomenon. You see, for example, after 10 years, ask somebody and says, I cannot remember it. It is the tip of the tongue problems. So memory basic is in the brain, not in the mind. Mind is the production, byproduction of brain. Also in the topic of memory. So we have two types of memory. Long-term memory and short-term memory. What is the time of long-term memory? What's the end of time of long-term memory? After, for example, 1 week, it is, if you remember, after 1 week, it is called long-term memory. 1 year, 1 month, 1 hour. How do you think about it? What is the long-term memory? 1 hour? What's the time of short? How many?
I would say within seconds.
Seconds, maybe. Other things? Short-term memory. No idea? Short-term memory is about 1 hour. Nice. And sometimes of memory, when you have some memory problems, for example, Alzheimer. When you have some problem like Alzheimer, you don't have any problem with your procedural memory. If you have some problems in your memory, you cannot forget your motor, your movement skills. Yes, you forget the addresses. Yes, address is not a motor memory. Address is a motor memory. But you don't forget how to drive. It is not damaged. If you lose all your memory at the first or at the end of your life. So between 1 minute to 1 hour, different text has different definition about it. It's short term. But what are the stages of memory? sensory register, short-term memory, and long-term memory. What is the sensory registration? For example, please say me what I was talking about 2 minutes ago. Adrian, what I was talking about 2 minutes ago.
The brain cells don't look very.
It was about 5 minutes ago, and about 2 minutes.
So it's about the long-term memory.
You pay attention that everything has a good emotional effect on your brain, has a good memory, for example, because of a lot of people maybe engage with marijuana and believe the discussion about marijuana, it was very, very alert for everybody. But other things, it's not so interesting. But if you have a lot of emotion about something, it will be on your memory in the future. And you know what is the most emotional, effective event in your life, in anybody. Until you are dead, you never forget this event. What is that? The most, it is called in psychology, it's called supreme feeling. What is called the supreme feeling? The most emotional effect on your life is LOVE. Yeah. It is the most emotional effect on your memory until you are dead. Until you are near your death. So in psychology, love is called supreme feeling. Highest. Because a lot of emotion. What different types of love, for example? But ordinary between a man and a woman at the, especially the first love. As you know, the first love is not the best. Because you are not mature about your feeling, about your first experience. But first experience is the best experience because you cannot never forget it. Okay? It is called sensory register. I asked Adrian what I was talking about, for example, 2 minutes ago, and he answered me about 5 minutes ago. Why? Because it was more interesting for Adrian. But now I have a question. What I was talking about 2 minutes ago. No.
Joey, you were saying that.
Yeah.
That the marijuana interests you more because that's what stands out to you more.
2 minutes ago. From now. It was 2 minutes ago?
Yeah.
It's a sensory register. With your 5 senses. At first, you receive your data. This is data, not information. What is the difference between data and information? Anybody knows? For example, in computer science, what is data and what is information? It's different, not the same. What is the brain of a computer? What's the brain part? The main part of the computer is called? No, RAM is not the brain. RAM is not there.
Hard drive?
What?
Hard drive?
No, heart is not. Heart is the food. The brain. The basic part of motherboard is the focal point. One part of motherboard is the brain of the computer. It is called Central Processing Unit, CPU. Have you heard it? CPU, Central Processing Unit. It's the brain of the computer. Motherboard is whole body, RAM is, for example, like hand and drive and other things. And what is the sensory part of the computer? how can I give some connection to my computer? With my this part. Every yes, for example, Q, for an example, I go by touch. So when you enter data, there's only data, no meaning, no processing. Data processing outcome is called information. Information is processed data. Information is not data. What you see in the screen, it is information. Because it has gone to CPU, it's something like your brain. These are our receptors. Eye, vision, audition, tactile, smell, and taste. These are the 5 basic senses. This is sensory register. After that, it has 2 options. One, forgetting. So important. A lot of data is deleted. Why? It was not important for you. You are so lucky to have the power of forgetfulness. Why? Because a lot of data is not necessary and a lot of information is not so good for survival. The brain and the mind suppresses and sometimes forget it. But if it is important and no forgetting, it enters the short-term memory. For example, when you want to go somewhere, only short-term memory needed, not long-term memory. After reaching that, it's over. Again, it's not important forgetting, and not important is what you do in studying your lessons, your courses, rehearsal, and after that, it enters the long-term memory. As you see, for example, you can see some pictures. Remember that 2 things, 2 phenomena engages all your brain. Brain has 2 hemispheres, right hemisphere and left hemisphere. Different part, different function, different jobs or works. And 2 things engage all the brain together. One, music. Music engages all parts of your brain, especially when it is not instrumental. The songs engage the left part of the brain, and the harmony and the sound and anything except the lyrics engage the right part of your right hemisphere of your brain. And secondly, after music, it is pictures, videos. So you can hear a music, but not remember so good. But what is the function of video clips? Why we make videos for our sons with a lot of money? Why? Because yes, visualization engages all parts of your brain. You can remember better the music with the videos rather than all the music. Sometimes you don't like that music, but after having a video, it's good music. Why? All part of your brain, especially emotional brain, is engaged with the video. So a lot of addiction, a lot of learning is about the visualization. For example, some part of visualization about the better future is mixed with some pictures in the mind who are very hazardous, very dangerous. People who are not so patient to gain their goals maybe have some dangerous pictures about the future. gaining so soon. It is so dangerous for them. Because after imagination, your imagination convert to your emotions convert to your actions, and your actions convert to your destiny. Because of that, what you visualize convert to your destiny, convert to your results. Emotion to actions, actions to emotions, vision to emotions, emotions to actions, actions to destiny, actions to your life result. Very simple. You think, but what type of thinking is very effective on your mind? Visualize thinking. Not only vocabulary thinking. Vocabulary. It's something like suggestion, self-suggestion. But when you are thinking, visualize. For example, please close your eyes for 1 minute and only listen. Everybody is asleep, okay? Continue to sleep, no problem. Everybody is not asleep, please close your eyes. And imagine that it is today, 12 o'clock p.m. Now it is 10:45. And you want to take the exam. It is midterm exam with 20 questions and only 30 minutes. Wow. Such good questions. Very easy. Your muscles are relaxed. You're laughing at the questions, being happy. And sometimes, suddenly, you see other classmates. Wow, you're she's so bright. He's not so hopeful about the exam. You want to support him. He's saying some of the answers, but it's not equal. You have a lot of stress about your class, about the following exam. And suddenly you understand that it's only a dream, and now you can open your eyes. Everything experienced in mind is such things like reality. Mind cannot distinguish between reality and suggestion. Such a good news. Your mind cannot distinguish between reality and your imagination. Your mind cannot. Outer world, yes. So why? It's a good news because of that. If you can imagine everything in your mind, very precise, very careful, with the and feeling it, it's go to your memory. Something like you have experienced it before. And after that, gradually and begin to impact some effect on your behavior. For example, a lot of people have a lot of problems with their body image, not with their body, only body image. What is the difference of body shape and body image? Somebody says, what is the difference between body image and body shape? No difference. Body shape is your real body shape. It's not image. Body image is the image I have about my body shape. And what's the problem? A lot of people doesn't have honestly very bad body shape. But they have a very, very bad feeling about the body shape. Their body image has a lot of problems. So you have heard about anorexia nervosa. Do you know anorexia nervosa? Anorexia nervosa is a mental disorder that you don't eat anything. Anything. Why? Because you think you are fatty. You have a lot of overweight and other things. But experts say you know, normal, it's good. Is there any problem in body? No. Is there any problem in the body image? Yes. Please work on your imagination. Especially good, positive, and powerful imagination. Everything begins with imagination. Also, I know some of you will laugh at me. Wow, everything is real, but imagination. But please study the autobiography and greater people, effective leaders. For example, who is the greatest leader in technology? The big name, the biggest name in technology. Everybody wants to say, I want to be like him. Who is that? Who passed away some years ago? Steve Jobs. We can study his autobiography. The full of imagination. Full of imagination. At first, he thought about the possibility. I says, oh, everything is possible is possible. What is probable? Not possible. Probable is potential, possible is real. You are so young, you destroy your life. So if you choose positive, positive effect, not necessarily positively as positive thing, effect, powerful, and also some, sorry about that, because everything needs time and effort. Taking time and effort is called patience, and also patience. Clear positive focus targets in your mind as an imagination for the future. This is called future orientation. And it is a function of memory. Because every time you experience the memory, sometimes of imagination are engaged. Okay, short-term memory, pay attention, rehearsal, and chunking. Rehearsal. Without rehearsal, nothing enters the long-term memory. Without attention, even nothing enters your memory, even short-term memory. For example, concentrating the words, you didn't have any attention to the sounds out of this class. You're paying attention. Attention is the first part of recording, which is with no attention. Consistent attention is called, what is the name of consistent attention? It's called persistent and consistent attention. It's called concentration. If you pay attention consistently, persistent is something you have concentrated on it. And after that, rehearsal. So attention, concentration, rehearsal, learning, and memory. 2 points. Attention, concentration, and rehearsal. Any question? Also know the words, it is LTM and STM, short-term memory and long-term memory. This is very regular in psychology and other parts of studying about the memory. It's very good. Types of long-term memory: procedural, declarative, episodic, and semantic. Procedural, we were talking about the procedural memory. For example, everything has a procedure, and you have learned the procedure of doing something. It is recorded, it is registered on your procedural memory. For example, what is the icon of procedural memory? It is driving. How to do driving is registered on your procedural memory. It's a type of memory. For example, cooking or dress is all about the procedural memory. Procedural memory is a type of memory that recorded the procedures of doing your jobs, your work, your function, your tasks. This is procedural memory. And declarative. Declarative is about declaration, about the narration about something that is good or bad, and about your culture, about your past life history. Episodic and semantic. Semantic is about the semiology. Semiology about the, for example, don't move. Judge his position. What does it mean for you?
What do you mean, Judge?
A review about the position. For example, if I sit like this, here's a meaning, different from this. When I sit here, I'm the boss, talk to me. But I'm here, sorry, I'm not the boss, I'm talk to you. This is semantic memory. The memory of the science of body. For example, when you look at the gentleman, so good, comfortable student, with friends. Teacher, what are you talking about? 2 minutes ago. Who is teacher? Who's a student? I'm so comfortable as a student. You can't be comfortable or not, teacher. It's relative to you, not relative to me. Why? Because I'm here, sit here, back to me. You love poker? With joker? Okay, okay. It's a joke. It is semantic memory. Your previous knowledge about the science of body, science of, for example, about the semantic. Semantic is mean meaning. Meaning is the same word in the psychology and philosophy. It is semantic. It's very important. We have a perspective on psychology that is called information processing psychology, or information processing approach. What's the meaning of information processing? For example, we have different types of approaches in psychology. The first approach is psychodynamic. What is the meaning of psychodynamic? Psychodynamic or psychoanalysis says that everything happens in your life is related to your past life history. Everything happens in your life is related to your past life history, especially related to your first 5 years of childhood. It's psychoanalysis or psychodynamic. There's a dynamism underlying of your behavior, especially in the two parts of sex and aggression. These are the main part of psychoanalysis, psychodynamics. It is one approach to human behavior. The second approach is the position of psychodynamics. What is unconsciousness? So bad things, not true. We cannot observe unconsciousness. Human is only what he or she does. It is behaviorism. Behaviorism about the approaches in psychology that says us everything is real, what is observable and measurable. It's behavior. So, until now, we have two approaches in psychology. Psychoanalysis or psychodynamic, and the second one, behaviorism. The third one says that what I'm talking about, unconsciousness, behavior, and other things, you are your body. You are not your mind. You are your brain. In this approach, the third one, we say you are your brain. You are your body. For example, if you have some chronic diseases, you may have some different of behaviors. If you have, for example, some bad digestive problems, other types of behaviors. It is called biological approach. It is about biology of your body. Three approach: psychoanalysis, past life history, behaviorism. Everything is observable and measurable, and biology. And the fourth one is cognitive approach. It says, yes, you have sometimes a past life history, and we can observe your behaviors, and also your behaviors and your memories relative to your body and mind. And finally, it is important your attitude, your thinking. It is the fourth approach. Cognition, thinking, attitude is the basic and most important part of your life. And finally, the fifth approach is phenomenology. Phenomenology is some type of approaches in psychology that says it is not important what a bad childhood history you have. It is not important what a bad or good behavior you have, and your thinking and your body. Something most important is that how you experience your life in your mind experiences. This is called phenomenon of your mind. This is called phenomenology. We have 5 approaches in psychology, basically. And one of them, in cognitive part, is information processing view. Information processing view said to us that everything happens in a person, in a man, in a woman, is relative to the process of information he received from the outer world and processed in the inner world, in the brain, in the mind, and anything else, and based upon react. So in information processing, you don't have anything so-called response. Everything is react. Action and reaction. In this part of information processing view, we have 3 parts, we have 3 stages for memory. Recall method, recognition model, and relearning model. At first, we have recall method. Adrian, what I was talking 3 minutes ago. Totally. Totally what I was talking. What concept I was talking. Yeah. What I was talking 3 minutes ago. Totally. Total concept. Not very good. I was talking the approaches in psychology. When you are here and you are not here. When you are here and you are not here. You are wasting your time. Why? Because you have only one chance for living, not for life. Living is a process, life is a duration. Living is a process of life. You have only one chance. So no important what are you doing. Is interested or not interested, interesting or not interesting. You are staying, ascending, and paying your lifetime to anything you are doing. So because of yourself, concentrate on here and now. Because of yourself. Because life never repeats again. And so sorry, it is too short. Not short, it's too short. Also, it is not a lot of, there are not a lot of pleasures in life, I know. Pleasures are relative to life. Some parts of life has a lot of pleasure, and most of the life has a lot of pains. So not too bad. Pain is not too bad. So please be here and now, not because of me, not because of your bachelor's degree, not because of the university, because of the importance of yourself. You are paying the most, economy is the most rarely this is your lifetime. You cannot find it again. Never, never, never. So 3 minutes ago, also now, 5 minutes ago, I was talking about the approaches in psychology to human behavior and human action. And after that, I came to the 3 models of memory and information processing that you should know. Information processing is a part of cognitive memory, cognitive approach to psychology. And that's all. What is that? That's been keep up with time. Do you have you experienced the public document? Very good. In childhood or
Yeah.
these years? Because I experienced just now. Sometimes when you are learning and you are experiencing new experiences and new languages, you cannot put some words like this. And you know what is the concept you want to transfer, but you cannot find the word. It is called tip of the phenomenon. Also, it is not related to your memory, language skills. What are the language skills? What are the main language skills? There are 4 language skills. First, for example, you want to talk TOEFL or IELTS and other things, you should test 4 skills. The first, I'm doing now, is speaking. And second one, you should do now, I hope, is listening. And because listening and speaking is so hard, you are doing always the third skill at your laptop screen. It is called reading. And after that, at 12 o'clock today, you will do the 4th skill of language. It is writing. Speaking, listening, reading, writing. There are 4 skills in language. The language skill, the main language skill. In every type of language exam, you should know about this 4. And it is very bad that a lot of native people in America doesn't know about the language. Native people are not there. And they're not knowing a lot of it, yes. It's not good, it's little. But native people, modern language, they go, for example, for TOEFL and IELTS exam, and they know a lot of things in speaking, in listening, in writing and reading. I noticed that in your post you are sending for me and for your classmates in the learning engagement. There are a lot of grammar problems. Okay, a lot of that. You see, though, a lot of you write the first sentence with, for example, I want, with I is not capital. It's very, very simple. First of the sentence, and also I, as me, is always capital. It is related to your literacy, not your language. Literacy is the kind of knowledge, treasure of knowledge you have about your language, literacy. Poor literacy. So if you want to have a prestigious reputation and high level, high credit, social credit, you should work on your literacy. I'm talking about the high level. Literacy is not about the knowledge. This is about the regular daily language. Okay? Have a 5-minute break, and after 5 minutes, eat here because we have another topic to talking until 12, and after that you will have, welcome lady, you will have midterm exam.
Okay.